7 o'clock, call meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion to accept the minutes of February 2nd?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. The motion to accept the financial report and payment of the bills.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Have a budget amendment, Steve?
Yes, I have one budget amendment tonight, 2011-011. It's the budget from fund balance $4,311 into Parks and Recreation Equipment account for the purchase of goalposts for Meadow Park.
Okay. We have a motion to accept budget amendment 2011-011.
So moved.
Second.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Lewis? Nothing? I don't have anything. Joe? Anything?
I just had, I was looking, our town charter was last updated in 1996. What is the normal, it's 15 years old now. I've tried to search online, everybody seemed to have something different. I was wondering, when was the last time we did that previous to 1996? Do you know?
I don't even know when the mayor and commissioners did it then, because I had only been the administrator since '90. That was the first time we did it, I think.
Can we look in to see when it's time to update that? I know we're doing the comprehensive plan and everything in planning, so I was just curious.
There's no, the charter itself doesn't provide for a time that it can be revised. Mostly it depends on the mayor and commissioners what they want to do. There's no set time that you have to revise the charter. How do you, it's a pretty comprehensive project to do it all. I mean, there's sections you can do.
Okay.
To overhaul it is
Something to think about.
send something to MML though.
Yeah,
You know,
if
talk
you
to
don't mind,
contact with somebody,
Yeah.
someone else.
just to see.
It was just being finished up.
Excuse me?
It was just being finished up when I came on board. I guess when it was started when Gene Herman was here, and he continued working on it. And it was finished up, I think, in '96. Kind of got it all through the process of it. But it's a pretty extensive thing, but something to look at.
Okay. Also, hot off the presses is the brochures for the Elkton Senior Housing. I just received one at about 4 o'clock today. I'm going to pass it down. He didn't have any more with him. But they will be here on Saturday for anyone interested with the brochures up on the second floor of here at Town Hall with the Antique Roadshow. So if anyone's interested, for family members that want to put their name in or receive the brochure and to get the application information, they will be here Saturday between 12 to 5. They have over 100 people that have applied. Chesapeake City, Northeast, Elkton, Brooklyn, New York, Florida, Delaware, North Carolina. They don't know where they're hearing about it from because they did not start their marketing yet. But I'm going to pass it down for the commissioner and mayor, and if anybody else wants to take a brief look at it. But they will be here Saturday, 12 to 5 upstairs.
Good.
That's all I have.
Earl?
Yes, I'd like to ask the board to consider bringing back the old business minutes and adding them to our agenda. I know there's been talk the last couple of years about being more up to par for what we're actually dealing with in our town meeting for that meeting. But at the meetings, the last meetings that we passed, we never know where we're going, what we've done in order to bring the community up to date. So as of tonight, I'd like to ask for our next meeting that we start implementing the old businesses onto our town meeting so that the public can be brought up to date with some of the issues that discussed at the last meetings. And also,
Well, before you go any further, I know your report's not done. I concur with you, and I like to put that in form of a motion because basically I recall the time that both you and myself talked about Melville Park, and it seemed like it was tabled at that point, and we still need to go back to, further explore what we talked about.
I
Is
agree.
it possible to put that into a motion?
Sure.
I will
I so
second your
move.
motion.
All right, have a motion second on the floor.
Commissioner Gibbons.
Motion's being made that we go back to old business and bring that back as part of the agenda for the meeting.
I have a motion and a second.
A second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
by bringing that up, we talked about the engineering with KCI last meeting, and just from some of the emails, I still see that we still got the same proposal to extend a year. That wasn't really what was discussed. I thought maybe we could see if we could push the contract with KCI for the 2 to 3 years or 3 to 5 years. That's what I said. I don't know whether that's legal or not, but from looking over at the budget, we spent a lot of money for engineering work, and I understand that some people have ties and what they're doing and how well they work with the town, but like I said before, when someone leaves, someone will replace them with something. So whether it's less money, it's still probably the same kind of product or service we're getting. So with that, I would like to state that if we can get KCI to consider either locking their rates, and I know the word locking might not be the same thing, for 3 to 5 years, if not, bid the project out to another firm.
That's true, but when we met at the town meeting, I guess the guy was trying to lock us up in for another year, and that's the reason why he said he would go back and look at 1 year, but if we wanted longer than that, then he needs to be told that.
Well,
That equipment needs to be told.
I'm suggesting that tonight because from the email, he's already got his mind set for 1 year.
That's correct.
So, I mean, when he left me here, I said I would like to go on our terms instead of just someone suggesting a year to us, so that's...
And I also emailed back when we were doing that about Steve just giving us the prices from KCI throughout the year. And when you look at the cost, I really think this board needs to sit and decide whether we want to hire our own engineer. And I believe Commissioner Gibbons emailed back, and Lewis, you did make a remark, or whether we want to look into a 3-year contract with KCI or bid it out, because you know, when you're talking at almost $193,000, we could have our own engineer easily and save a lot of money. So I really, and I've stated it many times, think we need to discuss this further.
Well, you know, the budget's coming up now, and now would probably be the time to make that decision to see what we're going to do, and if we can get one, and what we, at least maybe feel it out and see what's going to cost us for one. You know, if you want to do that, I guess we could we do that? I mean, find out if we get some kind of cost and how much these guys, one of our own cost?
$193,000.
Oh, right.
Now, I don't know what it would engineer would cost, because we haven't had, John Conwell was the only engineer I know that we had. I don't know what it was paid. It was before I was the administrator. I would imagine a licensed professional engineer would be in the 100,000 range at least, I would think.
I was told between 90 and 100,000.
Yeah,
So, you know, we're still saving almost $100,000. And then just bid out the higher, you know,
well, they would have to have support though.
I understand that, you've said it before, I know that, Lewis, and you've said it before, like with the sewer treatment plant, that was a different type engineer.
Oh, yeah.
But we were just talking about KCI's cost on the normal engineering things that our own engineer can do. And that's what I'm looking at here, so I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I really think we need to discuss this further before going with KCI.
Well, from that, I'd like to bring up the next meeting, if we can, from the budget itself, from looking over the budget, there's a lot of questions that came to mind, and that's why I brought up this thing about KCI. We paid a lot of money out for certain things that they've done as engineer services. And then the wastewater treatment was over $2 million, and then we paid the state highway over $31,000. If we're paying individuals to do certain things, there's where the cost savings will be for the town of Elkton. But I would like to ask that we have a workshop on this budget, because we're implementing everyone to cut back, or I guess the mayor's budget, implementing to cut back 5% on this budget that I don't see where we are so far behind that we're making everybody cut back 5% just because we want to look good. I'm speaking on my head. Now, you might have an answer, but we can do this in a workshop, and I want to know the reason why we're making people cut back 5% instead of going by what the budget is allowing us to deal with. Now, you can't cut back something from a budget that you only know what you have. You've got to make a reasonable assumption of what you want to get to, a certain amount from a budget that you have. You can't just say, I want 10% cut, I want 5%. People have to operate on what they're dealing with. They cut 3% last year, and then we want them to cut 5% from their office. I don't know how and why we're doing it. So I would like to have a work session the next meeting so that we can discuss this and go in more detail. And from that work session, I'm saying for the last time that I've been on the board for 7 years, and each time I asked for a recreation center for the kids. When the schools close, then our program stops. Whether it's taxpayer dollars through the school system, I know we use the school system, and they're very gracious on letting us use them. But when their program stops, we shut down because there's a possibility that the school is going to have snow today. We shut down. Now, I don't know the legal ramification of that, but I do know that I would like to see funds moved and identified for building recreation. Because if I don't ever come back again, I at least want to know that that money's there for a building for kids in the community. It's used for the community, and the budget allows it. So.
Okay. Next one.
When you want to discuss this, and what have Mary involved in the discussion?
Oh, yeah, she
I
should
mean,
be.
give me a date and time.
Next workshop, next workshop.
Okay, then.
Is that too late? Because I would be willing for a special meeting if it's, because I know you're on a timetable. If we need to do a special meeting for this.
No, I think we can still do it. I think we'll make it.
But also inclusive in that, if you're going to have a workshop with Murray, and I know certainly I've been one of those that supported getting a recreation center as well. I think you also need to look at Mellow Park to see, how that's going to be incorporated into the recreation program.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I know we got funds to get it paved, but each year you get water out there, you get erosion out there. There's times that you can't use Mellow Park, so we need to have some direction what we're going to do with that as a recreation area as well.
Okay.
So she can just give us a package deal with our recreation
But she's
program, I
not
guess what I'm
planned,
saying.
right.
May not be able to do anything, but still, it could be part of the discussion.
I don't
Well,
want to
let's
go
not
back
have
to what we've done before, where we had this big architect building for $500,000. We can do it, and I used this before, just like Elkton Christian. Start with a nice little metal building and build from that. Just give them someplace where they can get inside of the weather, and just be able to have a place where they can say they can go into without having to worry about whether the school's going to be open. They can run a program. And like I said, I'm not just all about basketball. I'm about sports in general. I mean, whatever it comes, volleyball, soccer, whatever it takes for the community to be involved. We go down in Delaware. You got the Boys and Girls Club, a $7 membership. The kids can do anything and anything they want after they get off from school. Then they got the little sledding hill that they created out of dirt. But they have a nice little section for people to come, walk, and do it. We need something that we can claim that is ours. Now, I know someone's going to say, you have the YMCA. The YMCA is a different entity, and they deal on their own funds, but they're willing to work with the community, the town of Elkton, to allow us to have programs. When Boys and Girls Clubs gets up and running, they even said they would allow a day for them to come in and swim. This is the partnership that we need within the community. But we got to start identifying what we want and what we need and what we can get. So that's it for me.
Okay.
But also in that proposal, I think she also needs to look at, the type of programs that she have and what the kids need, because being in the school system and being in athletics all my life, recreation, it's good, but the kids are taking a different direction when being involved. So I guess I'm saying she needs to look at the program and give us something about that as well.
And remember, even though I said that, this includes the adults too, senior citizens, place for them to come.
We're talking about the inclusive
Yes.
building.
Community building.
Yes, cool.
You want her to have a plan by the ninth?
Well,
We
wait a
need to
minute, wait a minute,
discuss
I kind of think we went off track, because we were talking about the budget and money, and I don't know if Mary needs to be in
Now,
that
we need to
part of
discuss
the
what we-
discussion.
what we-
I think-
She
I mean-
Have a whole comprehensive plan in a week or two, I mean, I don't.
No, I don't think that's gonna happen either, but I think if Steve
Before
needs
you
to
do
be
anything, you've
here.
gotta have a plan.
So let the board,
I just don't know if it can be developed.
I understand what
to
you're
board
saying.
satisfaction in a couple of weeks.
No.
hold it.
You can't even know about
Okay,
it.
let me say,
No, it's just
I want the
a plan.
board to discuss what way we're going, and if we need to have her put a plan in, we'll do that after our discussion.
Afterwards.
We don't need to have everybody
Right.
chaos.
I don't, we're talking a whole nother issue. Earl's talking about the budget and money available to put in a capital fund for a recreation center. And I think that needs to be discussed amongst the board. Steve, he knows the finances, to see what can be done. And we're stepping beyond the horse, and it's not gonna,
Okay. Now we can see what if we can manage it to make it happen. Good. Anything else?
That's it.
Charlie?
I talked with some people from Buttonwood. We've certainly had them here concerning parking, but the people out parked with evidently didn't have a problem. I know questionnaires were sent out to them, Lois, discussing the same. I don't know whether you've done anything since that time to accommodate their needs or even discuss it. Have you done so yet?
No, I have the results of the survey, but I don't have a solution for their problem yet, and I'm not sure how to do that, short of like planning for additional improvements to the area to accommodate the work. Because of the number of cars they have, the number of spots they have, and the contest for those spots. And most of them have responded, or not most of them, but a lot of them have responded that they like the idea of having their assigned spaces like they had before, and we can't do that.
I understand that, yeah.
So we can't provide that accommodation to them, and I'll get to all the survey results to the board, and you can see.
did you mention some property, though, that was there that we might be able to use for parking?
Right.
There is property there. It's not convenient property, that's the issue. It's not property near some of the homes. I think some of the problems are in the 400 block, and the property that we actually own, where we could have spillover parking, is clear over on Whitehall Road in that area next to the 100 block. So I don't know how many people would welcome the idea of parking over there and then walking through the development to get to their home.
I have a question. Legally, and this is for you, Mr. Norton. I didn't call you Mr. Wilson. Legally, because we've never taken over a homeowners association project like this, we call ourselves helping out. Is there a clause or something you can put in there to identify people that had parking spaces with their deeds to allow us, with a clause, because this is the first time for us to do it, to actually take over a homeowners project. But is there any way legally we can add a clause in there? Because we didn't know what we stepped in when we did this. We actually took it on to help the citizens, not to create more issues.
Well, fully
That's
did.
why I say you can answer that because you've been it.
I
There
can't.
wasn't a homeowners association anymore. Let me finish. And so they had this property up there that the parking lots and the stormwater management, different things that were, this homeowner association or land that we had conveyed to the town, because we searched and we found one of the old officers who was the surviving trustee was able to convey it along with Montgomery, because he had owned an interest somewhere in there. But we all went to the town. Now it becomes public land, and we can't designate a specific space from. It's like if we gave me down in the parking lot behind down there on Howard Street, and designated a specific space for Norman Wilson to park. You just can't do it. It's the same way, it's the same thing. I know it's a homeowners, I know there's a development there. You can't do it because it's public land. You can put up, and if you choose to do it, you can put up handicap spaces, what have you, but to designate it to a certain house. Now see, when they bought those houses, they didn't buy it with a parking spot. The parking spots came with the Homeowners Association. They had parking spots there, and they were designated, but they weren't designated for each unit. They were just there. The Homeowners Association wanted to start putting and designating the units, the parking spots for that unit. The Homeowners Association doesn't exist anymore. They were paying a monthly stipend to this Homeowners Association, which they don't pay anymore, because that was to maintain the property and what have you. But that's gone. And so when the town came in, yes, it took it over because the parking lots and everything was becoming such a state of repair. We were ended up plowing, but we didn't own the property to do so. The town decided to go ahead and do it and take over this property, thereby being able to do the plowing, what have you, and protect our liability and everything else. You can't just designate spots.
I just asked if there's a
Yeah, I
legal
know,
way
I
of
just-
dealing with
I
it.
know. That's the best I can explain it.
All right.
Anything else?
As always, I still like to commend the police department, I guess particularly for the problem that we had with the shooting on last weekend. But not only that, I just think the police are doing a good job, being the fact that Elkton is a location where, you know, personally I see it in the school system where you have a lot of people coming from Philadelphia, New York, and other places around, so that becomes part of the community. And, you know, the old traditional community is not like it used to be because now you got people bringing their own accords and everything else there. So that is a problem that they're going to have to continue to deal with over and over and over. So, you know. And, of course, the other night when it was very windy, I called Lewis to let him know that I still believe and always believe and that we need trice containers. I know we're trying to get that as a part of the recycling program, but a lot of streets, trice were blown all over the place because people, you know, have this thing now and they just put it in a little bag and put it down. But, you know, with a container, you wouldn't have that problem. So maybe we'll get to that point one of these days because in that case, you know, trice is blown all over people's yards all over. But I know High Street in particular had a lot of trice, but Lois, I don't know whether your men got out there, but it was certainly clean. So I applaud you for that effort. And with that, I'm done.
Commissioner Hicks?
Yes, I wanted to just add to what Mr. Commissioner Givner said about the police department. I got a lot of good comments about the drug program that went on at the school last weekend, well, Friday, I believe. So I was good to hear about that. And again, goes a long way about changing the image of the police department in the town. Also, I continue to get complaints concerning trash being stored on a continuous basis at 124 East Main Street. So I would really like to know what we're doing as far as addressing that. I know it's a difficult task, but I'm really interested in finding out what we're doing. We're going to discuss KCI at a workshop, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk over the budgets by department.
Not
At a
this time.
workshop?
No, just do what he's referring to for the thing. We can if he's got it ready. I don't know if you got it prepared all yet.
No, they just come in yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. And
Outstanding.
okay. And we'll also be discussing the community center, like Commissioner Piner said. Actually allocating funds towards that, if nothing, but to get it actually started. And that's it for me.
That's it?
That's it.
One more thing. So when we had our workshop, evidently KCI left her with the intention, am I correct, that we were going to give them a one-year deal?
I think so. That's the way it went.
What-
last
what-
week. For 1 year.
What I think that would
But we're going to change that, but go ahead.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to
We
go
can
back.
change that. We can go back.
No, I'm saying I thought they left with the intention that they were going to get a one-year deal with us, but maybe Lois needs to let them know that, you know, we are taking a different direction with that.
Right.
Because remember, he sat at the table and he was saying maybe we can go back to last year's figures.
Yeah.
So I guess they're under the assumption that it's almost a given, but it's not. I guess it's not.
No,
No.
if it's not,
No,
then the only option we'd have is either ask them what they can do, if they can make a 3-year block or something like that. If not, then we might just have to go ahead and put them out for bid. We don't have, do we have the contract with them as far as?
No.
I didn't think we have a contract, so we can just go ahead and put it out.
No,
I just need to know what the board wants to do, hire an engineer, put it out to bid.
Yeah.
And that's why we.
I
That's why we're gonna have a
think
discussion.
discussing this as a board, what will be cost beneficial for the town? It might be hiring our own engineer, and I think it's something we all need to look at. Whether, instead of bidding out for the engineer service.
I know when I first came on the board, we had our own engineer, but the magnitude of work was so great that he could not comprehend it all. So, you end up going out and getting people to come in and do the work that the town needed done. But eventually, that's how they went to KCI, just to have them to do the whole spectrum of work. But, it has gotten costly, like Earl and others have mentioned.
And KCI is doing that, but when they get to a project they can't, they have to do the
That's
same
when
thing. They hire somebody,
Right.
same difference.
So we just have to check it out and see then if we can get one, and if they can do the workload that we would hopefully anticipate that this economy opens up, to do the workload that might have.
Well, I think you're looking for like the general, for lack of better terms, the general processes that are used from KCI.
Exactly.
And
You need what's called a professional
right,
civil engineer.
right.
Civil engineers deal with water, sewer,
Right.
landscaping, things of that, all the site work.
And if our
road
costs,
work,
right,
that's
and if
what
our costs,
they deal with.
right.
You need environmental, electrical stuff going on.
And
They
if-
have to be specialized disciplines.